who's in front of you. From the letters of Paul, come give us a call. Heard you on a scope, then we came too. It is corner of the week, then topic 1. Might as well dive right over than topic 2. And it's Thursday night, better come tune in. Yeah, the rain's on the wall, too wonderful. We going live on the big screen. Tallahassee Camp doing big things. For the people, yeah, the supposed to be fishing. You ain't tuned in, you gon' miss it. Pay attention, man, you better go listen. For the 12, yeah, you know we on a mission. What's going on, yeah, we gon' list it. End time news out to the missiles.
Check. Hey, shalom. Can everyone hear? Can everyone hear? Type Y if you can hear, because we ready to go.
We back.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness. The dragon is wroth.
Yes,
the dragon
sir.
is wroth.
Yes, damn the devil.
All right, let me know if y'all can hear us so we can start. Let us know if you can hear us.
The gates of hell won't prevail.
Okay. All right. All praise to the Most High. Hey, we just gonna go. You know what they do.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know how they do.
They do it.
They try to knock off the algorithm and all of that, but ultimately they don't want the word to get out. But it don't matter.
That's right.
Because we're going to teach the truth.
Bring
Come
it
on.
out.
Yeah.
All right. Where were we?
We're reading the article, sir, in Revelation 17 and 11.
NATO.
Or 17, 18.
Biden.
All right. So somebody turn the reader's mic up.
Check. There.
All right, let's go. Let's read the article about
Let's get
Trump.
it.
Watch this.
Trump's plan for NATO is emerging. Donald Trump has threatened to leave NATO so many times, or has appeared to anyway, that for many of his critics, it's a question of when, not whether, he ditched the 75-year-old alliance if he's reelected president in November.
Uh-oh, come on.
In truth, Trump would be unlikely to quit NATO outright, according to interviews with former Trump national security officials and defense experts who are likely to serve in a second Trump term. But even if he doesn't formally leave the organization, that doesn't mean NATO would survive a second Trump term intact. In return for continued U.S. participation, Trump would not only expect that European countries drastically increase their spending on NATO, his main complaint when he was president, but also undertake what one defense expert familiar with the thinking inside Trump's National Security Advisory circle, Dan Caldwell, describes as a radical reorientation of NATO.
Come on.
We don't really have a choice anymore, Caldwell told Political Magazine, citing rising U.S. debt, flagging military recruiting, and defense industrial base that can't keep up with the challenge from both Russia and China.
So, once again, I said it before, we see the beginning of the end.
Yes, sir.
All right, the Bible is a true book. The Bible is a true book. All right, Trump, NATO, it's not going to last.
Right.
According to the Bible, first and foremost, but we go to the articles, we go to current events to see how things are playing out, see how things line up with the scriptures. All right, we got a lot more. So let's get into it. Let's go to Turkey. Let's go.
Turkey cuts off relations with Israel.
Now, check this out. Turkey is a part of what? NATO. Turkey is a part of NATO. And America is a lead, the hegemony like we discussed before we got cut off, right? Now, if Turkey is taking a stance and saying that they're cutting ties with Israel, go Ezekiel 35, 9 and 10. Remember, when we read about Babylon, when we read about Edom, it's talking about both of them. Okay, it's talking about America and Israel. They're one of the same. They're called America on this side, and Israel's called Little America over there, or Little Satan.
Right.
You understand? Read that real quick.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 35 and verse 9.
Come on.
I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy cities shall not return.
It says what?
And thy cities shall not return.
Let's think about that before we even get into the rest of it. It says thy city shall not return. It should be desolate. Think about it. America, their pomp, their pride. You understand? The way Trump's speaking about them, the way J.D. Vance is speaking about them, the way Israel's going about isolation, getting the United Nations out of there, dropping bombs on every Arab country they can.
Right. Yeah.
They're isolating themselves.
Right.
You understand? There's strength with NATO, but America, because of their military ability, their power, the gift that they got, you understand, in hunting and weaponry, they believe that they don't even need NATO. They believe that they could continue this thing and keep it going without them.
Right.
They're sadly mistaken, according to Bible prophecy. That pride, give me that in Obadiah 1.
Yeah.
Thy pride has deceived thee, and it's also going to be thy downfall. All right, let's go to that in Obadiah 1. Give me that real quick.
The book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 2.
Hey, those who are watching, hey, share the stream. Let the people know that we back on.
That's
Let the
right.
people know we back on. Go ahead.
Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised.
Thou art greatly despised. America's hated and Israel's hated. All right, look at what they have done with it's not a war, the genocide in Gaza.
Right.
All right, they cannot reverse the damage that they've done.
Nope.
And we're going to get into it later on. They're calling for a stop. They're calling to end that war. It don't matter if you end it now.
Right.
The damage is done.
Yeah.
Read that again.
Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen.
Come on.
Thou art greatly despised.
Uh-huh.
The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee.
It says the pride of thine heart has deceived thee. Go back to that Ezekiel 35 and 9.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 35 and verse 9. I will make thee perpetual desolation.
Come on.
And thy cities shall not return.
And that city shall not return, because then we destroy it with nuclear fire. Come on.
And ye shall know that I am the Lord.
Come on.
Because thou hast said, these two nations.
These two nations, all right, the Israelite nations, Judah and Israel, northern and southern kingdom. All right, Esau, Idumea, through America, and the Amalekites who are in the land today, they said that they would replace us as the people of God. All right, read that verse again.
Because thou hast said, these two nations
Read.
and these two countries.
And these two countries, what are the two countries? United States of America and Israel. Read.
Shall be mine.
Shall be whose?
Mine.
Come on.
And we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there.
Right, whereas the Lord was there. And you heard about it, or you're going to hear about it when Trump speaks. The ones over in the land are called Jewish, and the ones over here in America, they're called Christians. That's as if the Lord was there, as if the Lord was with them. All right, a Christian nation, right? Now, drop that. Go back to the Turkey article.
President Recep Tayyip
Uh-oh.
President Recep Tayyip Erdogan
Come on.
announced that Turkey has officially severed relations with Israel, according to the reports in Turkish media. News outlet Medea Ege reported Erdogan to have said, "We, as the state and government of the Republic of Turkey, have cut off relations with Israel. We do not have any relationship with Israel at this point, period." Erdogan made these comments to journalists aboard his plane following his recent visits to Saudi Arabia and Azerbaijan. Erdogan highlighted his condemnation of what he termed genocide in Gaza and Lebanon. He emphasized the urgent need for humanitarian aid and an immediate ceasefire. As you know, intense efforts are being made to keep the pressure on Israel alive and to take coercive measures against this country on the basis of international law. We show it. He is reported to have said.
Hey, so if Turkey can see that this is a genocide, everybody else can see it too.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Right, yep.
That's
You
right.
understand? And,
That's
and
right.
they're just the ones that's going to speak up about it. There's going to be more. All right, you got America basically pushing NATO to the side. Eventually, more of those countries are going to see the same thing. All right, and you're going to see NATO diminish. That's what you're going to see. Thus saith the Lord. What else we got? Let's keep it rolling. Because they want to do that ceasefire. They want to end the war. Watch this.
Time to end the Gaza war, Blinken says, after U.S. imposed deadline for aid expires.
The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has made comments in Brussels related to the war on Gaza. He's calling on Israel to end the war, saying it's reached the goals it's set for itself.
What we've seen is this. Israel, by the standards it set itself, has accomplished the goals that it set for itself, the strategic goals it set for itself. It was rightly determined to make sure, to the best of its ability, that October 7th could never happen again. And to do that, it said that it needed to dismantle the military organization of Hamas and to get the leadership that was responsible for October 7th. It's done both of those things. So, this should be a time to end the war.
Let's speak to
All right, so now this is what a lot of people want. What you got to say about that ceasefire? What you think about that, officer?
That cap, it's a lie. You know, America, the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, lies. They came out the womb. The Bible said they came out the womb lying. So how can you trust that? We gonna see.
Hey, go to Thessalonians real quick. All right, 5 and 3. All right, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. Because yes, I think that they will end up doing the ceasefire. I think that the war will end, and then Americans and those in other places may feel a sigh of relief.
Right.
You understand?
Safety.
But we understand that nope, that's not going to be it. That's not going to be the end. Right. It's those birth pains, those contractions.
That's right.
So you got real intense moments, then you got calm moments too. All right, read that.
The book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3.
Go ahead.
For when they shall say peace and safety.
Right. When they say a ceasefire, all right, that's the peace and safety. All right, the war is over. So it says when they say that, go ahead.
Then sudden destruction cometh upon them.
Then sudden destruction is going to come upon them. Come on.
As travail upon a woman with child.
Right. As travail upon a woman with child. Come on.
And they shall not escape.
And they shall not escape. So brothers and sisters, we got to watch. That's what we do. We watch and pray. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do call a ceasefire. Trump is coming in as the new president.
Right.
You understand? I wouldn't be surprised if you see that war stop and the other conflict. What's next, IT?
Russia open to any Ukraine peace talks if Trump starts them, envoy says.
Scroll down.
Russia is open to negotiations on end to the Ukraine war if initiated by U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. But any talks need to be based on the realities of Russian advances. Moscow's ambassador to the UN in Geneva told reporters on Thursday. Trump has repeatedly criticized the scale of Western aid to Kyiv and has promised to end the conflict swiftly without explaining how. His victory in the November 5th presidential election has spurred concerns in Kyiv and other European capitals about the degree of future U.S. commitment to helping Ukraine.
Right, because Trump, he's against the war in Ukraine. All right, he wants to end it. Remember, him and Putin, they got a relationship. They was cool.
Right.
You understand? So wouldn't be surprised if he comes in. And I don't know exactly how it's going to play out, but I just wouldn't be surprised if we see this conflict with the genocide in Gaza and the Russian and Ukraine war come to an end. That don't mean it's not going to pop off.
Right.
That's just going into those birth pains.
Sir.
You got those real strong contractions, and you got that time of peace. All right, so we watching and we praying. We paying attention.
Yes,
What's
sir.
next, LT?
Right.
Exclusive. Trump to make moves soon in effort to end Ukraine war.
Play it.
Exclusive. President-elect Trump is expected to appoint a Ukrainian peace envoy, sources tell Fox News. You're going to see a very senior special envoy, someone with a lot of credibility, who will give a task to find a resolution. You're going to see that in short order. The job is not expected to be a salaried role. Trump has long insisted he could negotiate and end the war with Ukrainian President Zelensky and Russian President Putin.
So like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. What else we got, IT? Let's keep it rolling.
Putin takes Trump's claims on ending the war with Ukraine seriously.
То, что господин Трамп как кандидат.
Okay, y'all gonna have to translate now.
Yes, sir. Vladimir Putin, Russian president.
То, что
The fact that Mr. Trump, as a presidential candidate,
господин Трамп как кандидат в президенты заявляет о том, что
declares he's ready and wants to stop the war in Ukraine.
Остановить войну на Украине, мы к этому
We take this
относимся
quite seriously.
вполне серьезно.
I am not, of course, familiar with his possible proposals regarding how he is going to do this. And this, of course, is the key question. But I have no doubt that he means it sincerely.
All right, so we watching that conflict right there. Remember who else is in on it? You got North Korea. They actually got troops fighting now. North Korea, and then you also have Iran, who is supporting Russia as well. Speaking of Iran, let's play this next video. Y'all got the timestamp on this? All right, I want you to read that title. All right. IT.
Why America and Israel are afraid of Iran.
So it says America and Israel. America and Israel, those two countries. Why are they afraid of Iran? Let's find out. Play this.
Against Iran. And now, just like Israel went all out to finish off Hamas and Hezbollah, Israel is about to wage a war against Iran because Israel is angry.
Israel has carried out
multiple airstrikes on Iran.
Israel is striking Iran.
Satellite images
Show damage at an Iranian Revolutionary Guard base.
Tonight, Iran has launched a barrage of missiles towards Israel.
Now, when you look at this war, it looks like Israel will easily win this war because Israel has the support of the United States of America, which is by far the most powerful military force in the world. And on paper, Iran's economy is only $430 billion. It is smaller than the economy of Israel, which is at $528 billion. It is half the size of Saudi Arabia, and it is almost 70 times smaller than the economy of the United States. But even then, would you believe me if I told you that the US is actually afraid of Iran? Seems unbelievable, right? Look at this. Iran has been such a gangster in geopolitics that it is literally involved in every other war happening in the Middle East. It has been funding and arming militias like Hezbollah and Hamas all across the Middle East. It has gone against the US and Europe to sell drones and weapons to Russia for the Ukraine
just
war.
to say something about that, like Hamas, Hezbollah, they're called proxies. Right. Meaning that's not Iran, okay? That's, Yemen, the Houthis, all of them, the Houthis, Gaza, all of them are in conjunction with Iran, but it's not actually the Iran military. All right, so Iran is very strategic when it comes to its allies, when it comes to warfare. All right, and they have, if I'm not mistaken, fact check me, IT, the most uranium deposits, which means that's how you build the nukes. Right. You understand? So they got the natural resources right there in Iran.
Wow.
All right, so that's a big problem to someone like America and especially Israel being surrounded. Go back to Obadiah 1 and 4. I think you read it.
Yes, sir.
Read that one again.
The book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 3. The pride of thine...
Actually, 2.
Verse 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen.
Right. Pull up the map of Israel, IT. Pull up a map of Israel. All right, the Middle East, so y'all can see that thing right there. All right. Give me Jeremiah 49 and 2 while they pull that up. Not an old one. One today. Right. Read that for me.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 49 and verse 2. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will cause an alarm of war to be heard in Rabbah of the Ammonites, and it shall be a desolate heap, and her daughters shall be burned with fire. Then shall Israel be heir unto them that were his heirs, saith the Lord.
That ain't what I wanted. But pull up that map again. That's not what I wanted. I misfired. All right, zoom out. All right, so you got Saudi Arabia, you got Jordan, Iraq, Syria. Was that? I think Yemen's north of that. So you got all of these different Arab nations. You got India close over there too. All right, so understand when we go back to Obadiah chapter 1 verse 2. Watch this.
The book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen.
Come on.
Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock.
Right. So they are greatly despised. They are greatly hated.
Right.
Now go back to where we was at. You had something, officer?
Did you want verse 20, Cap, when it said the least of the flock?
That's probably what I wanted. Verse 20.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Jeremiah 49 and 20.
Yes,
there
sir.
you go.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 49 and verse 20.
Oh, yeah, I said 2. That's my mistake. 20, come on.
Yes, sir. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. surely the least of the flock shall draw them out.
Right, the least of the flock. All right, remember they're surrounded by all of those Arab nations. All right, now go back to where we were before this.
It has gone against all US warnings to build its nuclear weapons, and Iran has even disrupted global oil supplies multiple times in the past 10 years. And in response, the United States has tried everything in its capacity to curb the power of Iran. They've imposed sanctions on Iran, they've cut off Iran from global trade, they froze $12 billion of their foreign reserves, and they stopped all other countries from buying oil from Iran. On top of that, America even tried to fund Iraq to attack Iran. But even then, nobody has been able to conquer Iran. The question is, how is this even possible? How can such a small country have such a massive leverage over mighty powers like the US and China? How did Iran...
That's it? All right. So, first and foremost, they got the natural resources to build the nukes, and they're basically impossible to invade. Right. All right? Just because the way the land is, you can't come by sea. You can't ambush, you can't do any of that to Iran because they'll spot you out. All right, that's why there's such an issue. And that's why they try to bribe them with money. You understand? And that's what Netanyahu, he had a message to the Iranians. We're going to get to that as well. He tried to guilt trip them that they were spending a lot of money on that attack against Israel. And he said it was a minute attack. Y'all didn't do nothing, but you spent millions of dollars to do it. What we got next? Watch this.
Chilling nuclear war map shows how 75% of the U.S. could be wiped out.
Right, and this is what they fear. This is what Israel fears, this is what America fears. Go ahead.
A unnerving Cold War era map spells gloom for the U.S. in the aftermath of a nuclear catastrophe, forecasting up to 75% fatalities in the worst hit zones. The world's nuclear players include powerhouses nations like the U.S., UK, France, Russia, China, Pakistan, India, and North Korea. While Israel's arsenal remains undisclosed, it's widely assumed to be nuclear armed. Meanwhile, Iran is pressing on with uranium enrichment. Back in 1986, Institute of Medicine researchers William Daughtry, Barbara Levi, and Frank von Hippel studied the grim scenarios of a potential nuclear strike on the U.S., focusing on the country's cache of land-based Minuteman missiles from the 1950s.
And this is why U.S. and Israel, they fear Iran because they know that they have to do it. They have the capability. They got the uranium deposits over there to take this to that level. And that's what they're going to do. Thus save the Lord.
Right.
All right, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
That's all right.
Saudi Crown Prince says Israel committing genocide in Gaza.
Remember, Saudi Arabia was always down with America due to the what? The money exchange. The Saudi princes, they're very rich. They're very, very rich. America gives them the money, and they give America the oil. But even Saudi is coming out to say, hey, this is a genocide that they are committing. All right? And they're getting tired of it to the point where we see this. We see the Arabs uniting. What's next? Come on. Follow me. That was like a segue. See this? It was.
Arab-Islamic nations gather for emergency Gaza summit in Saudi Arabia.
Come on.
We're back with the latest from the Middle East. Several leaders from across the Arab and Islamic worlds are set to hold an emergency summit in Saudi Arabia today. At issue, how to end the violence in Gaza and in Lebanon.
Yeah, one key nation who will be present is Qatar. This meeting comes just days after that country suspended its role as mediator between Israel and Hamas, accusing both sides of not negotiating in good faith. This comes as Israel continues to ramp up its attacks in the region, with Israeli strikes killing dozens in Gaza and northern Lebanon over the weekend.
NBC News Chief International Correspondent Keir Simmons is live in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Keir, good morning. So just what kind of expectations are there for this summit, and which countries are going to be there?
Well, it's a display of unity, really, by 80 countries from the Arab and Islamic world. And it really is just trying to send a message of support for Gaza and for Lebanon. We just heard from the Secretary General of the Arab League, who says in a statement, today's summit carries a clear message that the world cannot bear the consequences of turning its back on this ongoing massacre. And then goes on to say Israel may need among its remaining friends someone to save it from itself and its its actions. So the message is clear. I think it's also a message of how much the world, or at least this region, has shifted in the last year with the events of the last year, Joe.
And Keir, the U.S., as I just mentioned, asked Qatar to kick Hamas representatives out of Doha. That was about 2 weeks ago, which has effectively stalled any negotiations. Why did U.S. officials request that? And is there a sense that neither side is looking to make any progress towards a deal?
Well, diplomats with knowledge of events that I spoke to through the weekend say that Qatar made the decision to end its mediating role, or at least pause it for now, and then informed Israel, Hamas, and the United States. So we have a U.S. official saying that they asked Qatar to do it. Then we have a diplomat with knowledge suggesting that effectively it was a bit more of an independent decision by Qatar. But what that diplomat does say.
Okay, take him out. He's horrible. That Edomite, he's horrible. I can't take it anymore. I want a little bit more, but he's horrible. Give me Revelation 16 and 12 real quick. Yes, get your words out, Esau. Goodness gracious. But yeah, you see the Arabs. All right, uniting.
Yes,
all
sir,
right,
they joined together.
There you go. 16 and 12. Come on.
The book of Revelations, chapter 16 and verse 12. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east.
That the what?
Way of the kings of the east.
You just saw the Arab Islam leaders. Those are the Saudi princes, the leaders of Iran, India, all of them. You understand? That's the east. Those are the kings of the east. Read that part again.
That the way of the kings of the east,
come on,
might be prepared.
Might be prepared. What do you think that is? What do you think a summit or a meeting is? They're preparing, they said, to defend Gaza and Lebanon. That's what they're doing.
Right.
We're witnessing Bible prophecy right now. That's what we see. All right, give me the one in 2nd Ezra 15:28 to go with that.
Yes, sir.
The kings of the east. They are gathering together. All right, come on.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 28. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east.
From where?
The east.
Go ahead.
Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth.
There it is, with many chariots. All right, they said 80 different countries was at that summit. All right. All right, let's go. Let's keep it rolling. The U.S. and U.K., they bombed Yemen. Yes, they did. The Houthis, they claimed the attack on the U.S. Navy. I want to go to Netanyahu's direct message to the Iranian people. All right, I want to go to that one. Yep, play that.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a direct message to the Iranian people.
A few weeks ago, I spoke directly to the people of Iran. Billions of people around the world, millions in Iran itself, saw that video. And after they saw it, many Iranians reached out to Israel. So today, I want to once again address the people of Iran. Since we last spoke, the Khamenei regime launched hundreds of ballistic missiles at my country, Israel.
It's not your country. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Tell you how much that attack cost? Yeah. Well, I'm not guessing. It's $2.3 billion. That's how much of your precious money they wasted on futile attacks.
Well, I got something to say to you, Netanyahu. You're speaking to the Iranians, all right? The Bible, the ancient Persians and Medes, right? Give me Isaiah 13 and 17. You think they care about some damn money?
Bring it out.
No. They want to destroy the devil on the earth.
That's right.
That's all they care about. And there's nothing you could do to change their mindset. There's nothing you could do. Read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 13 and verse 17.
Go ahead.
Behold, I will stir up the Medes.
Who will do it?
I will stir up the Medes.
That is Christ, right? They said he's going to stir up the spirit of the Iranians. Come on.
Against them, which shall not regard silver.
They're not going to regard silver.
And as for gold, they shall not delight in it.
They don't care about that. They don't care that it costs millions of billions to drop a few bombs. They gonna keep spending the millions of billions to blow you to hell.
Right.
That's what the Bible says. Let's read some more.
Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces.
That's those arrows, those missiles. Come on.
And they shall have no pity.
They shall have what?
No pity.
They shall have what?
No pity.
No pity. Because the Lord, the Spirit of the Lord is in them. All right, come on.
On the fruit of the womb.
Read.
Their eyes shall not spare children.
They don't care if it's little kids, women with child, grown, old, young. They don't care about none of that. Go ahead.
And Babylon.
Hey, you know why? Because Amalek don't care about none of that.
Right, you're right.
They over there dropping bombs on hospitals and schools.
Bring it up.
You understand?
Everybody getting it.
Everybody getting it. So guess what? When it come time to you, they ain't gonna have no pity for you either.
That's right.
Read.
Verse 19.
Come on.
And Babylon.
And what?
And Babylon.
And understand, Babylon, yes, it's talking about United States of America. It's not talking about Iraq. All right? For all of you black Christians out there, it's talking about United States of America.
Right.
But when we mention Babylon, when the Bible mentions Babylon, it's also talking about Israel.
That's right.
It's also talking about Amalek. It's not talking about the Israelites. It's talking about America and Israel, those two countries. Read that verse again, verse 19, come on.
And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms.
The glory of kingdoms, the most powerful nation on the face of the earth. Go ahead.
The beauty of the Chaldees.
Come on.
Excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
And what did God do? He rained fire and brimstone.
That's right.
And that's exactly what's coming to them. Right. Thus saith the Lord.
That's right.
Can't forget that. Right. All right, let's go to 52 countries. Let's skip the next one, go to 52 countries. Watch this.
52 countries at the UN co-sign a letter calling for an immediate halt to arms sales to Israel.
Play that.
More than 50 nations have signed a letter calling for a halt to arms sales to Israel. They say that Israel is not doing enough to protect the lives of civilians in Gaza. Al Jazeera's Gabriel Elizondo reports now from the United Nations headquarters in New York.
The letter was co-signed by 52 different countries and delivered to the Secretary General, the President of the Security Council, as well as the President of the General Assembly.
I hope y'all see that. You had 80 Arab countries meeting the summit. You have 52 different countries sign a letter, say, hey, Israel don't need no more arms. You had Turkey say that they cutting ties with Israel. Right. You got America over here talking about they ain't going to be in agreement with NATO. I don't know what else to tell you. Everything is shaping up. Everybody's starting to see that man of sin be revealed for who he truly is.
That's right.
And I'm saying all praise to the Most High.
All praise to the Most High.
All right, so we're going to end the war report right there. Hey, all praises. We back at 1,000. Keep sharing the stream. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
all right, play the clip. All right, it's a topic of the day. Topic of the day.
Can you escape the beast?
Can you escape? Can you take the lower Thursday? Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. All right, shout out to the thumbnail team.
Okay.
That's clean.
You got the White House on fire in the back. You got Satan himself.
Right.
The leader of, they say, the free world. This ain't no free world.
Bring it out.
The hell is this?
That's right.
The leader of the damn demons.
Right.
You understand? Can you escape the beast? That's a good question. Let's find out. Hey, put up that first video before we really get into it. I don't know if y'all heard about this 4B movement. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but you got women mad or envious of the. Give me Ezekiel 31:9.
Bring it out.
Because that's what it really is. You got women mad about men being men. All right. They want equal rights so bad. They say they're going to go on a boycott and say they're not going to have sex with men. They're not going to marry men. They're not going to have children with men because men don't treat women equal. Because you're not equal.
Bring it out.
It is what it is. Read that verse.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 31 and verse 9.
Come on.
I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches.
The Lord made Adam fair, all right, and gave him wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Go ahead.
So that all the trees of Eden.
So all those trees, they're not literal trees, all right? These are going into men and nations. Go ahead.
That were in the garden of God.
Right, so all of the other people that was in the garden with Adam and Eve, come on.
Envied him.
Did what?
Envied
Bring it
him.
out.
And that's how you know it ain't a tree, because trees can't envy.
Right.
Right, but this is going into all of them. They was envious and covetous, but so was Eve, Adam's wife.
Damn.
And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing that demonic spirit rise up strong in these last days. Now, okay. Hey, real quick. Play that first video. Watch this. Oh, go to the first. Yeah, Al Jazeera. There's a video in that. Scroll up to the top. Is that the top?
Yes.
Wait. There was a video at the top.
Scroll down a little bit.
Is that it? Yeah.
Full screen.
I'm going to be a dictator for one day.
He has promised the most radical overhaul of government in American history, and now Donald Trump will be America's 47th president. He's set to deliver.
No, we're going to get him out of here. We're going to get him out fast.
Top of the list, mass deportations of undocumented migrants. It was popular with supporters, and he says he will build camps to detain migrants and reinstitute his travel ban from mostly Muslim nations.
I will seal the border. I will send them all back to their countries.
Trump has an enemies list.
We have two enemies. We have the outside enemy, and then we have the enemy from within.
It's a long one. Political opponents, journalists.
That's enough.
Prosecutors.
They have no case. They have no crime.
Even Joe Biden. And he's promised to use his Justice Department to seek vengeance. And he wants to increase presidential power with greater authority over the entire government, even parts that used to be independent of the White House.
It seemed like every time we talk about America in particular, the frames go down. I pray the stream don't drop again. Is it still dropping, IT? How we looking? It's better? Okay, all praise to the Most High. Hey, for the viewers out there, pray for us, man. It seems like every time we get on certain topics, the internet just gets rebellious or something like that. So let's go back. Let's finish this. I'm going to try to speed up. Come on.
Independent of the White House.
A second Trump administration would have a tremendous amount of more power than it has in the past, particularly because of the Supreme Court ruling that has said that the president has automatic immunity for constitutional powers and implied immunity for the regular powers of the president. And that means that he's going to be able to do a lot more things without being challenged in the courts.
All right, so hey, pause that. Let's read some of that article real quick. Come on. Same article. All right, read that.
A feminist movement sweeping South Korea, in which women are saying no to any form of intimate relationships with men, is taking hold in the United States, following former President Donald Trump's resounding victory in the presidential election. So what is the 4B movement, and why are American women turning to it now?
All right, so play the next video. All right, this stupid 4B movement. It's the dumbest thing. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But play it. Watch this.
After Donald Trump's victory, social media in the US is seeing the rise of the 4B movement, where women reject sex and marriage with men to protest patriarchal and often misogynist institutions and practices. Now, what is the 4B movement? It was started in South Korea after the Me Too and Escape the Corset movements. 4B stands for 4 no's. B is a shorthand for no in Korean, and these are no dating, no sex, no marriage, and no childbirth with men. The proponents of the 4B movement.
So stop. Let's think about it. Well, let's shout out for not being a whore anymore. Let's do that.
Okay, come on.
That's good.
Break it out.
But let's see where it really leads to.
Right.
Homosexuality.
There you go.
Right.
That's what it's going to lead to. If you're not with a man, they're getting gay with each other.
Right.
They say they don't need a man. This is against God's order, his natural design.
That's right.
Because they're doing this in spite, because they want equal rights as a man, so they're doing this as a protest in spite of that. Go back to the clip real quick. It's the dumbest thing ever. Go ahead.
That unless men work more actively for a gender-just society, women should not reward them with children, love, and emotional and other forms of labor. In 2024, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol declared a demographic national emergency as his country has seen a declining birth rate, and critics say the 4B movement has some role in it. So will the 4B movement redefine social norms in the future? Comment below.
Well, yeah, because we understand that this place is spiritual Sodom and Egypt.
That's right.
You understand? This is happening right now. So you already thought America was one of the gayest places on earth. It is the gayest place on earth.
Right.
Shout out to Diddy Zell. Sheesh. Gosh. I'm sorry. Shouts out to him in all of his movies.
Damn.
Wow. Messed me all up, man. This messed me up again, bro. Give me scripture. Let's get back in this word of God.
Bring it out.
Give me Romans chapter 1, verse 27.
Bring it up.
Because all it's going to lead to is homosexuality, feminist movement, LGBT, trans, all of that. All right? And a lot of them women say they could do that. No, they can't. All it takes is the right dude to look at them, and they gonna come running and say they fell on something. All right, Romans chapter 1, verse 27.
The toilet seat.
I thought it was a rock. Okay, go ahead.
The book of Romans, chapter 1 and verse 26. For this cause, God gave them up unto vile affections.
Come on.
For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature.
Right. What is against nature? Woman on woman. All right. That is not according to nature. How do we know? 1 Timothy 5 and 14. All right. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 14. The Lord took the rib out of Adam and created Eve. Her name is woman, meaning when she comes from man.
Right.
So obviously she's the perfect match. She's the perfect fit to a man. Read what you got.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 14.
Come on.
I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house.
This goes against this damn 4B movement.
Right.
Understand that's not of God. America, where it come from? Korea? But they're not of God.
Right.
Yeah. None of it's of God. Now go back to that Romans. Go back to that Romans. They get 27 now, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
The book of Romans, chapter 1 and verse 27. And likewise, also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another.
I want verse 29. Watch this. Because when you are involved in those inordinate affections, that woman on woman stuff, this is a characteristic that comes with it. Verse 29. Watch this.
Being filled with all unrighteousness.
Come on.
Fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy.
Full of what?
Envy.
What?
Envy.
Envy. That's what it is. Because they're not content with the way that God created them. Now watch this. Give me Sirach 14 and 8. That's what's wrong. That's what the whole thing is about. Oh, it's about Trump being president. Da, da, da. No, you're just battling demons. That's what you're battling. You don't want to be what God created you to be. All right, read that.
The book of Sirach, chapter 14 and verse 8.
Come on.
The envious man have a wicked eye. He turneth away his face and despiseth men.
And this does what?
Despiseth men.
Didn't they say they not dating men?
Yes, right.
They say they not having babies by men. They not marrying men.
Right.
It's that envious spirit that goes back to the foremother Eve. All right, but I just wanted to touch that real quick. So let's keep it going. Hey, what's the next video with Trump when in his Bible? All right, remember we talked about can you escape the beast? Read that.
We are bringing the Bible back to America.
Come on.
I'm proud to be partnering with my very good friend Lee Greenwood, who doesn't love his song God Bless the USA, in connection with promoting the God Bless the USA Bible. This Bible is the King James Version and also includes our founding father documents, yes, the Constitution, which I'm fighting for every single day, very hard, to keep Americans protected. Also, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance are all part of this God Bless the USA Bible, and it's just very important and very important to me. I want to have a lot of people have it. You have to have it for your heart and for your soul.
He don't even
Many of
believe
you have
that.
never read them and don't know the liberties and rights you have as Americans and how you are being threatened to lose those rights. It's happening all the time. It's a very sad thing that's going on in our country, but we're going to get it turned around. Religion and Christianity are the biggest things missing from this country.
He said what?
And I truly
He said religion and Christianity are the biggest things missing from this country. That's what he said now. Go ahead.
I believe that we need to bring them back, and we have to bring them back fast. I think it's one of the biggest problems we have. That's why our country is going haywire. We've lost religion in our country. All Americans need a Bible in their home, and I have many. It's my favorite book.
All right, so take it down. Trump wilding right now, man. Just to show you, yes, he's saying this because he has to say this.
Right, yes,
He is the beast. America is the beast. Revelation 16:13. Watch this, man.
The book of Revelations, chapter 16 and verse 13.
Come on.
And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon.
Come on.
And out of the mouth of the beast. And out of the mouth of the false prophet.
So these three are politics. He's a politician. Religion, like he said. Christianity, religion, and their media, how you saw it. You understand? So read verse 13 again.
And I saw 3 unclean spirits.
Come on.
Like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
From there, go back to that Revelations 13 and 11. All right? Because there's something that was said. Read that.
The book of Revelations, chapter 13 and verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Right, he had 2 horns like a lamb. That lamb, who's the Lamb of God? Christ. Christianity. That is what they would be pushing along with their politics, both Democratic and Republic. They all say that this is a Christian nation. All right, now let's go to Revelation chapter 17. No. All right, can you escape the beast? Can you escape the beast? Verse 3, watch this.
The book of Revelations, chapter 17 and verse 3.
Go ahead.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Right, full of names of blasphemy. Remember, they called themselves a Christian nation, but they had the children of God in captivity.
Right.
You understand? It's full of blasphemy. They say, God bless America. They say, pray for the Jews. They say that the Amalekites over there is God's people. Right. Full of blasphemy. Now, give me the next video. Give me the next video. Watch this. Read that.
Americans looking to move abroad skyrockets as Donald Trump wins re-election.
All right, so they say Donald Trump fears them. People looking to move out the country, all of that. Play this video. Watch this.
After Donald Trump's victory, thousands of Americans are planning to pack their bags and move abroad. Google search data shows U.S. citizens are actively researching how to move to Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. Among these people could be Hollywood celebrities like Sharon Stone, Cher, and Jimmy Kimmel, all of whom declared they would leave the country rather than live under a second Trump presidency. Our next report brings you more.
President-elect Donald Trump's victory wasn't a happy ending for everyone after all. While some saw his re-election as a personal win, others expressed fear about America's future and declared the Republicans' triumph a war on women. With Donald
now,
Trump
stop. You can stop right there. So they're changing this narrative to everything is against the woman. It's just showing you this is the decline. Right. All right. Women wants the equal rights. They want the abortion. They want the LGBT, all of that foolishness. Now, check this out. People say that they want to flee the country. I don't know if they understand, but America rules not just America. They rule the entire world.
Yes, sir.
Could you give me the graphic, just the military bases, then I got a script. So America has 845 military bases right now in the whole world. Meaning what? They got dominion and power over the world. Go back to that Revelation 17. So you mean to tell me you're going to get on a plane and go somewhere and think you can escape the beast? Wrong. No, it's not going to happen like that. You got to understand they're pushing for the same thing everywhere. All right, read what you got.
The book of Revelations, chapter 17 and verse 4.
Come on.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls.
Read.
Having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
What verse you at?
That's verse 4, sir.
I want verse 1.
Yes, sir. Verse 1.
Come on.
And there came one of the 7 angels, which had 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore.
The judgment of the great whore, read.
That sitteth upon many waters.
Put up the graphic again. That sitteth upon many waters. What do you see? You see water. You see all these military bases, naval bases. Who is that? That's the United States of America.
Right.
All right, now give me the one in Habakkuk 2. All right. Was it 4?
Yes, sir.
Or 5? All right. Does not keep at home. I think it's 5. All right, let me hear that. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. They say they want to escape escape America because Trump the president. It don't matter who the president is. The agenda is going to get pushed. Right. All right. Read that.
Right. The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 5. Yea, also, because he transgressed transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man.
Esau, Edom, America, they are proud men. Come on.
Neither keepeth at home.
Right, because they always defending world peace. They just making sure nobody else has a nuclear bomb. That's all they do. They don't keep at home. Now, watch this. Now, their problems with America. Watch this. Isaiah 24:5. All right, let's get Isaiah chapter 24, verse 5. Watch this.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 24 and verse 5.
Come on.
The earth also is defiled.
Did it say America?
The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof.
Read.
Because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance.
Come on.
Broken the everlasting covenant.
Who's responsible for doing that? America.
Yes,
meaning what? Their reach is all over.
Right.
When did they change the laws? Daniel 7:25.
Bring it out.
You understand? America's got their reach. So you think you escaping, you going to run into the same thing wherever you go. All right, go ahead.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
Come on.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High. And think to change times and laws.
And that's exactly what he's done. Change the Sabbath day, change different times, different laws, the ordinances. Now, give me from there, I want to go to 2nd Ezra 11. All right, because Esau, America, has gained dominion over the whole world. All right, 2nd Ezra chapter 11, start at 39. Watch this.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 11 and verse 39. Art not thou it that remainest of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world?
To do what?
To reign in my world.
You can't go against God. God allowed them to reign and gain dominion over the earth. The issue is that a lot of these women, they want to go against God. Not all of you sisters, because I've been reading the comments. We're not talking about all of you sisters. And when you get offended by it, that means it is you. Okay? So understand we're not talking about all of y'all. Read on.
That the end of their times might come through them.
Right. They're going to bring forth the end of the world. If you're over here going against it, you're going along with the destruction. Because the Bible says America's going to become Sodom and Egypt. That's what they are. So it's going to be all sodomy.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, Trump may slow it down a little bit, but it's going to come back stronger. It's going to come back stronger. That's what the Bible says. And which part of prophecy do you want to be on? You understand? You want to fight against it, or you want to be a part of it? What do you want to do? What verse you at?
Verse 40, sir.
Finish that.
Verse 40. And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world.
And had power over the what?
The world.
This fourth beast is the same beast in Daniel. This is that fourth beast. It's the United States of America.
Right.
They have power over the whole world, so you're not escaping. Now, let's get Jeremiah 51. We almost done. We're going to have to end early and get the other stuff next week. All right, we can't go into the UFOs because Esau's hating on us, cut the stream.
Right.
I apologize. Congress did have a meeting about the UFOs, though. Lord's will. Shoot, I might just go live or something later. Tomorrow or something like that. All right. What I call?
Jeremiah 51.
Let me hear that. 51 and verse 1. Watch this.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind.
Now, from there, give me verse 5.
Verse 5. For Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel.
Come on.
Flee out of the midst of Babylon.
Do what?
Flee out of the midst of Babylon.
So is this talking about actually take a trip and fly and do that? No, that's not what it's talking about. Watch this.
And deliver every man his soul.
Right, and deliver every man his soul. All right, this is the only way to escape the beast is to repent. Because mind you, the sins of Babylon, it's going to become law. That's what it's talking about when we read the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter. Right. You understand? So it's telling you to deliver your soul. Don't follow and don't get caught up in the ways of Babylon. Come on.
Right. Be not cut off in her iniquity.
Don't be cut off in her iniquity.
For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance.
Come on.
He will render unto her a recompense.
Read.
Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand.
Right. We just read that in Revelation 17. This same Babylon is mystery Babylon.
Right.
It's talking about the United States of America. Come on.
That made all the earth drunken.
How did they make all the earth drunken? By trade, by traffic. You understand? by different goods. The other countries getting rich here in America. Come on.
The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad.
Right. Therefore, the nations are mad. Give me Psalms 124. All right. Psalms chapter 124, verse 6 and 7. The only way we can overcome the beast is through repentance. That's the only way. That's the only way. Read that for me.
The book of Psalms, chapter 124 and verse 6. Blessed be the Lord, who have not given us as a prey to their teeth. Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken, and we are escaped.
Read that verse again.
Our soul is escaped.
It says our soul is escaped. That's the key. It's about your spirit. It's about your soul, the real you. Go ahead.
As a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken, and we are escaped.
Isaiah chapter 51, verse 11. Got two more scriptures, and we're going to end it on this note. So we got to understand. What you guys got something for me? Oh, FCN's canceled. Oh, we're gonna keep going. Okay, I'm not gonna clap because FCN's canceled, but I am gonna clap because we keep going. Shoot. That's all right. All right. All praise to the Most High. Everything works. Hey, everything's in the Lord.
That's right.
All right, what I call so I can slow down.
The book of Isaiah.
What you got?
The book of Isaiah, chapter 51, sir.
All right, Isaiah chapter 51. Let me hear it.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 51 and verse 1.
Come on.
Hearken to me, ye that follow after righteousness.
It says, hearken to the Lord, those who follow after righteousness. Come on.
Ye that seek the Lord. Look unto the rock whence ye are hewn, and the hole of the pit whence ye are digged.
Come on.
Look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah that bare you. For I called him alone, and blessed him, and increased him. For the Lord shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places.
What verse you at?
Verse 3, sir.
Why? 51 and 11? What I call?
Oh, sir, I
I said 2? I said 1? I'm sorry. I meant 51 and 11. I've been doing that today. My apologies. It's 51 and 11.
Yes, sir. The book of Isaiah, chapter 51 and verse 11.
Come on.
Therefore, the redeemed of the Lord shall return.
That's what I want. Come on.
And come with singing unto Zion. And everlasting joy shall be upon their head. They shall obtain gladness and joy. And sorrow and mourning shall flee away.
Watch this.
I, even I, am he that cometh you. Come forth you. Who art thou, that thou shouldest be afraid of a man that shall die?
There you go. Who art thou that we should be afraid of a man that's going to die? This beast is going to be put to death by nuclear fire, thus saith the Lord. Okay, hope you understand that thing right there. So there's no reason to be afraid. All we got to do is stay faithful until the end. All right, and understand that Christ, our Redeemer, he's going to give us that strength to overcome this beast.
That's right.
All right, come on.
That shall die, and of the Son of Man, which shall be made as grass.
Where you at?
That's the end of verse 11, sir.
Verse 11. What chapter you in?
Isaiah 51, sir.
All right, go to Isaiah 52, verse 11. Sorry, Isaiah 52, verse 11 and verse 12. Watch this.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 52 and verse 11.
Come on.
Depart ye, go ye out from thence. Touch no unclean thing. Go ye out of the midst of her. Be ye clean that bear the vessel of the Lord.
Right, so we got to make sure that our garments are unspotted. Okay, we got to make sure that we are not caught up in the ways of Babylon. Although it's tempting, enticing, we got to make sure we're fasting, we're praying, doing what we got to do to stay clear of that destruction, because the destruction is going to happen.
Right.
All right, they will be destroyed. Come on.
Verse 12. For ye shall not go out with haste, nor go by flight. For the Lord will go before you.
It says the Lord will go before us. Come on.
And the God of Israel will be your reward.
You see that? The God of Israel will be our reward. Give me Psalms, was that 91? Psalms chapter 91. All right, we're looking for that deliverance, trying to get away from the beast. This is how it's going to take place right here. Psalms 91 and 1, come on.
The book of Psalms, chapter 91 and verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
Right, the secret place is this Bible right here. Right. Jump down to verse 4.
Verse 4. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His trust shall be thy shield and buckler.
And read verse 3 as well.
Verse 3. Surely he will deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence.
Right, and from the noisome pestilence. We read that in Psalms 124. What is he going to deliver? He's going to make sure he delivers our souls. Understand, these carnal bodies right here, These cannot inherit the kingdom.
That's right.
All right, understand that, brothers and sisters. So the best thing to do is not worry about monetary wealth here or possessions here. We got to make sure our spirit and our soul is right. So when that time comes, we could be delivered. All right, jump down to verse 5.
Verse 5. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night.
Come on.
Nor for the arrow that flieth by day.
Right, those are going into those missiles. So it's letting you know we still going to be here in Babylon the Great. All right, home of the beast. When those nukes come over, when all the world is at war, we're still going to be here, according to Scripture. Come on.
Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday.
Right, so it's saying the destruction is going to hit at noonday. It's telling you the exact time. But verse 7, watch this.
Verse 7, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand.
That's the nuclear fallout. You got people just dropping, disintegrating in midair. Come on.
But it shall not come nigh thee.
Right, but it will not come nigh thee. That's that deliverance that was spoken of, what we just read in Isaiah 52. All right, now let's get that Revelations 12. All right, Revelations 12 and 11. Watch this.
The book of Revelations, chapter 12 and verse 11.
Go ahead.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb.
By what?
The blood of the Lamb.
All right, so we, the chosen, the righteous, we going to overcome the beast.
Yes,
all those other people, I can't speak about them. They're going to make up their mind. A lot of them are going to get caught up in the 4B movement. They're going to be single and alone with their cat and die. That's that's their choice. They don't have to choose that for themselves. That's their own choice.
Yes, sir.
All right, read that verse again.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death.
Right, and they love not their lives unto death. Meaning what? They follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth, and they do his will.
Right.
We're in right here, Revelation chapter 19. Give me verse Revelations 19 and 19. I want 19 and 20. Watch this.
The book of Revelations, chapter 19 and verse 19. And I saw the beast and the king of the earth.
Right, so it says the beast. This is still the United States of America. So he says, I saw the beast and the kings of the earth. Come on.
And their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army.
Come on.
And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast.
Right, meaning what? Sin is the mark of the beast.
Right.
Give me that in Job chapter 10, verse 14. So all of those who want to get caught up in that 4B movement, all of those who want to try to flee and just remain in their sin or fighting for abortion or what have you, you've been deceived by the devil himself. Read that real quick.
The book of Job, chapter 10 and verse 14.
Go ahead.
If I sin, then thou markest me, and thou wilt not acquit me from mine iniquity.
Come on, let's go back to Revelation 19:20. Come on.
The book of Revelations, chapter 19 and verse 20. And the beast was taken with him. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him.
Those miracles was what? The technology, all right, the nuke, the atom bomb, all of that. Come on.
With which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast.
Come on.
And them that worshipped his image.
Read.
These both were cast alive in a lake of fire burning with brimstone.
Right, so we just got to endure the test of time because the beast will be destroyed. All praise to the Most High God.
That's right.
Give the Most High a round of applause. We're going to get to the rundown because we got time. It is what it is. Hey, we got Officer Hezekiah, Officer Sampson, Officer David. IT, y'all ready? All right, play the clip. Somebody said 100 cats.
Crazy. Wow.
All right, y'all know what it is. It's the rundown. What does that say? Mysteries uncovered. Oh, yeah, there's some good stuff. So all praise to the Most High. Hey, okay, it's the rundown. Officers, y'all have at it. Yes, sir. All right, I'm going to try to be quiet. All right, play the clip.
U.S. influencer Dan Bilzerian literally dismantled Piers Morgan and explained to him why the Jewish lobby controlling the United States is a problem for Christian nation. I was horrified to learn the things that they teach in the Talmud.
You do. I don't like a religion that says that they're better than other people. And what's that?
Well, you do. You obviously do. It's blatant. No one watching this will draw any other conclusion. I'm staggered about how brazen you've been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it when people think they're better than other people. And you see that in Israel, and they're acting like that, and they're treating Palestinians like second-class citizens. They're treating them like subhuman beasts, and it sells that in their Talmud. So it says if you are not a Jew, that you are basically subhuman. And I don't think that Judaism and Christianity go hand in hand. I mean, they believe that Jesus is in hell burning in human shit, and they believe that the Virgin Mary is a whore. So I don't think those are two religions that really intersect very well.
I got a script.
Bring it up.
I got a script because he said he don't believe that some people see themselves better than other people. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. Because the people over there in Israel today, those are the damn bastards.
Right.
They're not the real people of God. So watch this. The real people of God in the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American in the projects and the ghettos.
Right.
Watch this.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
So when you watching this, God said you are holy, you blacks and you Hispanics. Come on.
Right. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people.
How special?
Unto himself. Above.
A what?
Above.
He said above. He said we are above who?
All people that are upon the face of the earth.
So what the hell, what's his name, Dan? Dan? That's his name,
what's his name, Dan?
Lost Tribe. But what are you talking about?
Hell, go back to the video.
You know, we've been programmed that they do, and we've been programmed that it's okay and that Jews are the chosen people, and I just disagree with that. I think everybody's equal.
Do you even comprehend how this interview is going to play out when it airs?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be bad. But, you know, my opinion is not politically correct, but I believe that is the truth. You know, there's
Hey, on real quick, give me Psalms on the 64.
Bring it out.
All right, because it's prophesied, all right, the white man's tongue going to fall on himself and start to speak the truth against his own self. All right, I'm bringing out the truth about those on the so-called, on the Jewish, imposters over there pretending to be us. All right, so it's being brought out on. Read that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 64 and verse 8.
Read.
So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away.
All right, and so the truth is being brought out in these final days. Give me that in Revelation 18.
Bring it out.
On real quick. All right, it's up to us, all right, to see what's going on. All right, realize who we are, the Israelites, the chosen people, the true Jews. And then on to get out of the ways of this world. And read that.
The book of Revelations, chapter 18 and verse 16.
And 4.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people.
All right, come out of her, my people. Not on to flee this on the country. Come out of the ways and the customs.
Right.
All right, on Thanksgiving is coming up. It ain't your custom.
Bring it out.
All right, Feast of Dedication is your custom. All right, and Hanukkah was given to you. Okay, read on.
Come out of her, my people.
Read.
That ye be not partakers of her sins.
Read.
And that ye receive not of her plagues.
All right, the plagues is on the way. These on the bombs is coming. All right, if you don't come out of this system, you're going to catch one in the chest. Go ahead, officer.
Right, Revelation 2 and 9. Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9. Let's see who the real Jews is. You got it?
The book of Revelations, chapter 2 and verse 9. I know thy works and tribulation.
It said, God know our work and our tribulations. Who going through that? You so-called blacks and Hispanics and Native American, read.
And poverty. But thou art rich.
But we are rich because we God chosen people. Not the white man, read.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
That's blasphemy over there. They say they are Jews and what?
And are not.
The Bible say you're not the real Jews. We are the so-called blacks and Spanish, read.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
But you are Satan that the Bible speaks of because they ain't the real Jews.
He called them the damn devil.
The damn devil.
Hey, on the jump over to 3 and 9. Let's see what God going to make them do.
The book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse 9.
Read.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not.
Read.
But do lie.
All right, imposters over there calling themselves on a Jewish. What are they going to do?
Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet.
All right, and so they're going to have to bow down before the true Israelites.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, I know y'all happy. Brothers is getting just princess is flying. Hey, go back to that video. Finish that.
Muslims, but everybody wants to, promote this anti-Muslim, this hatred for Muslim, like they're all, these terrorists. And I think the Israelis are the terrorists.
Uh-oh.
I think they are the ones perpetuating the big act.
So you see, Turkey's not crazy.
Right.
Turkey is not crazy. The 80 Muslim Arabs that had that summit, they're not crazy.
Right.
An American, he's an American social media influencer. You understand? He could see that. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if something would happen to that guy.
Right.
You know how they do.
Right.
They don't care about their own. Go back and finish that.
And, nobody wants to talk about that.
And what do you say to Jewish people who may watch this and be utterly horrified by what they're hearing?
They can be horrified. I mean, I was horrified to find that they mass murdered Christians. I was horrified to learn the things that they teach in the Talmud. I was horrified that they think that Jesus is burning in shit in hell. I was horrified that they think that the Virgin Mary is a whore. I was horrified to learn that they think it's okay to steal from Gentiles. I was horrified to hear that there's, two sets of justice. I was horrified to find out that they think it's okay to, gang rape Palestinian prisoners. Wow. I was horrified about all those things. I'm horrified that we're funding a genocide right now. So they can be horrified.
Dan Bilzerian.
Look at Pierce. Pierce, it's over.
Hey, get him on side round of applause. That's some good stuff right there.
Oh, crazy.
You called it earlier. That Psalm 64 made their tongue fall upon their own self.
That's right.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful stuff. Because the Spirit of the Lord making them do that.
Yes, sir.
All right. What else we got, y'all? Oh, yeah, read that.
This evening, I will vote against the ridiculous hate speech bill called the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act. Anti-Semitism is wrong, but this legislation is written without regard for the Constitution, common sense, or even the common understanding of the meaning of the word. The gospel itself would meet the definition of anti-Semitism.
You see that? You see that thing right there? So they letting you know it's to outlaw the Bible.
There you go.
All right, at the end of the day. Okay, go ahead.
The gospel itself would meet the definition of anti-Semitism under the terms of this bill. The bill says the definition of anti-Semitism includes contemporary examples of anti-Semitism identified by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance.
So they trust in an ordinance that was set up by men over the Bible. Right. That's what they letting you know. They saying that their Talmud, like the Caucasian just pointed out before, their Talmud and their own alliances trump what the Bible actually says. Go back.
The bill says the definition of anti-Semitism includes contemporary examples of anti-Semitism identified by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. One of those examples includes claims of Jews killing Jesus. The Bible is clear. There is no myth or controversy on this. Therefore, I will not support this bill.
Yeah, you might support it, but that does not mean it's not going to eventually get passed. Right. All right, give me that one, Isaiah 29 and 21. All right, understand that's what we're going to be up against. And they just put it right out there, point blank, for everybody to see what the bill is all about. It's targeting us at the end of the day. Read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 29 and verse 21.
Come on.
That make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught.
Right, and turn aside the just. We are the just, all right? So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We are the ones who keep God's commandments.
That's right.
All right, let's get to it. The UFO talks. What let's talk about.
U.S. Congress holds second hearing on UFOs in bid to...
How long is that video? Oh, I think that's the wrong video. Hey, find a video. Somebody say something good. I think we posted the wrong video. I'll help you find it. Officer, say something.
Yes, give me Psalms 37 and 40. Only Christ himself can save us from this wicked man called Esau, the devil.
The book of Psalms, chapter 37 and verse 40. And the Lord shall help them.
Who gonna help us?
The Lord.
The Lord is the only one can help us, Reed.
Shall help them and deliver them.
And do what?
Deliver them.
Yeah, we went over that in Psalms, 91 earlier, Reed.
He shall deliver them from the wicked.
He shall deliver us from who?
The wicked.
He shall deliver us from this wicked one. That was it on that?
And save them.
And do what?
Save them. Because they trust in him.
We got to put our trust back in Christ.
That's right.
That's our trust right there.
Hey, on real quick, on the go to Romans on the 13 and 11. All right, because we see the writings on the wall. You know, I mean, it's time to wake up.
Right.
All right, and repent on read that.
The book of Romans, chapter 13 and verse 11.
Read.
And that knowing the time.
And knowing the time, read.
That now it is high time to awake out of sleep.
It is on the high time to wake up out of sleep. All right, UFOs is being on the shown. All right, the weather is on the going crazy. The wars and everything. All right, man, it's on the time to wake up, family, man, and return to the Bible.
Y'all got it, Atu? All right, cool.
The truth is out there. Experts testify at UFO congressional hearing.
It's a question a lot of folks have been asking for decades. Is there intelligent alien life? And if so, has the government been covering it up? Well, that was actually the hearing, focus of a hearing yesterday by a House Oversight Committee. NBC's Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles joins us from Washington with the latest on this ongoing debate. And there were some surprises in that hearing yesterday, Ryan.
Yeah, that's right, Craig. At yesterday's hearing, ex-government and military officials suggested that may be the case, that there are intelligent beings that live off of the planet. Witness testimony included a range of stories related to UFOs and UAPs, which stands for Unidentified Anomalous Phenomenon. One former Navy admiral said that he had confirmation of them in 2015 when he remembers getting an email from U.S. Fleet Force Command. The video showed a flying object by a Navy aircraft doing exercises, noting that there were several near mid-air collisions. The next day, he said the email mysteriously disappeared from his and others' accounts. No explanation was ever provided from another Defense Department official, and they claimed that the U.S. and its adversaries were hiding away UAP technologies. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Let me be clear. UAP are real. Advanced technologies not made by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe. I believe we are in the midst of a multi-decade secretive arms race, one funded by misallocated taxpayer dollars and hidden from our elected representatives and oversight bodies.
Now, this witness urged the new Trump administration to have more transparency, saying that he believes that Americans can handle the truth. Now, we've reached out to the Pentagon for comment, but we've not heard back. Craig?
So many questions. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching.
Take Al. Say nobody want to see Al Roker. Hey, go to Zechariah 5 real quick. Zechariah, I know, that was messed up, right? What did Al do? All right, grow the beard, Al. All right, read that, verse 1.
The book of Zechariah, chapter... Oops, sorry, sir.
5 and 1?
Yes, sir.
Can he find it?
The book of Zechariah, chapter 5 and verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off.
That's the key. Everyone that stealeth. Everyone that stealeth. Was that Daniel 11:14? Get that? And then I want 2 Ezra 13. Everyone that stealeth. You better believe that America is responsible for stealing and killing. That's what they do. Read that for us.
The book of Daniel, chapter 11 and verse 14. And in those times, there shall many stand up against the king of the south.
Right, against the king of the south. That region is Egypt. Who are those inhabitants of the south? The Arabs. So there's many standing up, and you see it right now, standing up against those people. Come on.
Also, the robbers of thy people.
The robbers of thy people are the robbers of those two nations, Judah and Israel. You understand? Amalek, the ones that the Israelis, they are the robbers of us. And they're standing up against the Arab nations to do what? So they can have an independent Jewish state. Read it again from the top. Watch this.
And in those times, there shall many stand up against the king of the south. Also, the robbers of thy people.
So when you read about Amalek, you also read about the United States of America too. Can't forget, come on.
Shall exalt themselves to establish the vision.
Right, they exalting themselves to establish a vision because they ultimately want to exterminate all of us. But the vision is what? To steal the land of Israel from us, to steal the land of America from us. That's their vision. Now, there's a reason why Trump you know, and the administration don't want everything to come out. Remember, they got the Space Force. What do you think the Space Force is for?
There you go. Yeah.
Let's be honest here. Even though it's been quiet lately, they're doing stuff.
Right.
That's what they do. All right, give me 2nd Ezra chapter 13, and I want verse 29. All right, we're going to read down a little bit. Watch this, y'all.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 29.
Go ahead.
Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth.
Right. Come on.
And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another. One city against another. One place against another. One people against another. And one realm against another.
And one what?
Realm against another.
That's that, Independence Day right there. All right, that's what the Space Force is really for. They know life is up there. They've seen them on the moon. You understand? They've seen.
Bring it on.
We went over that a few weeks ago. All right, fix your face. They seen the buildings or the architecture on the moon. Yes, there's architecture on the moon.
Right.
Go over that. What was that? Sirach 43, 6. Real quick.
The book of Sirach.
They know that.
The book of Sirach, chapter 43 and verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of time and a sign of the world.
Read.
From the moon is the sign of feast and a light that decreaseth in her perfection.
Come on.
The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing.
Watch this.
Being an instrument of the armies above.
Right. The armies above is the angels, the host or the armies of the angels. All right. And their hub or their base is on the moon. And American astronauts, they have seen tall black beings on the moon. And they've seen their architecture on the moon as well.
Right.
So they know this there. Why they keeping it silent? Because if America knew that there was big black people up top and they're enslaving and treating the black people down here, that would put them in an uproar, and that would expose the American government for who they really are.
Bring it on.
You understand? They don't want the whole cat to be out of the bag.
Right. Yes,
Okay, we call this little segment Independence Day. And guess what? You ain't gonna win this time.
Right.
That's right.
Read it again. Go back to 2nd Ezra 13.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 31.
Go ahead.
And one shall undertake to fight against another. One city against another. One place against another. One people against another. And one realm against another.
And one realm against another. Come on.
And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen, which I shewed thee before. And then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending.
What's that, Revelations 1 and 7? All right, as a man ascending. And remember, he's ascending with not just himself, with his armies above, with those hosts of angels in V formation, like it say in Isaiah. Read that.
The book of Revelations, chapter 1 and verse 7.
Come on.
Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him.
Those clouds are the chariots of God.
That's right.
Understand that flying road that goes visits the house of the thief. Who's in them? The angels of God.
Right.
All right, read that again.
Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen.
Hey, it's 9 o'clock, past 9 o'clock, so I'm gonna stop right there. We can save the Bill Gates and the go to the Haiti, do the Haiti one, and then we could do Bill Gates some other time.
Right.
Do Haiti. I know brothers is hungry, they gotta eat. Read that.
FAA grounds all U.S. flights to Haiti after 3 planes were struck by gunfire.
Right. Go to the next video. Spirit got shot up. Spirit finna go into bankruptcy, y'all.
Wow.
Spirit can't afford
Hey,
that.
shout out to Spirit. Hey, if you gotta go somewhere for cheap,
For real.
a lot of people be hating on Spirit, y'all.
Bring it out.
I ain't one of them. I've used them before. Bruh, cheap. If you need a quick pew pew,
Yes, sir.
go Spirit, bruh. a day trip. Come on, bro. That's a no-brainer.
But you might get shot up.
They're not the only one, bro. Other planes got shot up too, bro. Play the video, man.
They did.
Tonight with the passenger jet hit by gunfire as it was trying to land the terrifying flight from Fort Lauderdale to Haiti with Americans on board. A Spirit airline passenger jet hit several times as it approached the airport in Port-au-Prince. At just 550 feet above the ground, the pilot quickly pulling up, diverting to an airport in the Dominican Republic, about 125 miles away. Video showing bullet holes inside the plane right there. Passengers describing hearing the bullets piercing the cabin. Some of the bullets hitting the overhead bin. Tonight, that airport is closed. American and JetBlue suspending all flights to Haiti. ABC's Gio Benitez.
See that? Hey, man, Tribal Levi's over there getting crazy, but they're facing some serious oppression over there.
sir.
Right. Understand, but hey, all praise to the Most High. It's always a great opportunity to teach the word of God to God's people.
Sir. That's right.
Shouts out to the bishops, the deacons, the captains. All right, and thank y'all for tuning in every Thursday with your brothers. We're gonna go ahead and sign off. I'm Captain Mattathias to my right.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Officer Hezekiah.
Shalom Israel, Officer Samson.
All right, Israel, I'm Officer David.
All right, Lord's will. Y'all know what it is. We'll be back next week, same time. Same place, same station. All right, Lord's will be back next week with another show. And with that, we say, Shalom.
Shalom, Israel.